what do you think is going to be the net impact as the dust settles from the announcements we've had, the market reaction, and now trying to still figure out the economic effect of 125% tariffs on China?
Well, look, the economist game in the past few weeks hasn't been point forecasts. It's been scenarios. And when you ran those scenarios, when you saw something like Liberation Day, 20% average import, that was really consistent with a recession in the United States and some pretty high inflation. But we also ran a 10% across the board. That's not exactly what we have here, but it gives you a framework. And what you see in a 10% across the board, well, it's still problematic for growth and it's still higher for inflation, but it's not that same sort of deeper formal recession type of call. So some relief, I think, in a lot of economists' forecasts right here. But I have to tell you, Kelly, if you had told us last week that we were going to have a 10% across the board tariff wall around the United States, that still would have been a painful impact to growth. It still would have been material downgrades, a lot of inflation. I also have to say 90-day pauses are not an eradication of tariff risk. So companies are still going to be looking at uncertainty, and a lot of companies around the world waiting for what their individual negotiations will mean for the United States as well. Underlying all of this, we've still had stock market volatility that might impact sentiment and some consumer behaviors as well. So it feels a little bit of a relief here, but I have to say 10% tariff is still a massive reordering of U.S. trade and global trade, and certainly is not an eradication of the risks that we had seen in the past week.
David, I've heard some sort of theorize, and there's going to be many theories about all of this, but that one of the president's rationales here may be to get the budget deal done, right? They have a very slim majority in Congress with the House. They have vulnerable Republicans running for re-election. They're up against a constituency who's clearly alarmed about some of these new policies. Does that give them just enough breathing room to get that across the board and at least maybe then provide some ballast if they do come back to this policy, and who knows if they will at this point?
Well, obviously the tax cut's a huge deal, and we need that to occur. Whether you can use the tariff revenues to offset in the budget reconciliation
I don't mean
process,
specifically.
I
just mean in terms of political.
Well, majorities have their privileges, right? And so the Republicans can use that at least as a talking point. I think two major things were revealed to us in the last 15 minutes. One, Bessent does not like a 4.5% 10-year Treasury yield. Like, I'm sure at midnight he was sweating that, and that's probably what walked into the Oval Office and said, we've got to make a change.
He wants lower.
Yes.
Much lower.
Yeah.
I tweeted out this morning, and it wasn't like me just tweeting my feelings. The market was screaming for change.
Yeah.
The market was going to push for change, David, no matter what.
Correct.
And when you see stocks move and bond yields move in the same direction, that was the leverage that Bessent needed to convince the president that Navarro was wrong.
That's what I think happened. And I think he walked into the Oval Office and said, we can't fund this thing at all if we're going to have these come on board. Because, $600 billion comes into the United States from foreign purchasers. They own $8.5 trillion in treasuries. If they go on a buyer's strike, then we just start having these yields levitate, and none of this stuff happens. So I think that was the panic button. Number two, China's the problem, right? I mean, if you look at China's share of global manufacturing over the last 20 years, it's really come out of the U.S., but it's also come out of Japan. It's also come out of Europe. And so we know that the 10-year is the leverage to get the deal done. We also know that China is the main focus of all of these negotiations, and rightfully so. So I think those are two huge bits of information in what had been a huge information vacuum.